So there was a guy that was totally convinced that he was dead. Some of you heard this story. But he was totally convinced that he was dead. And his friends and family were really worried about him. So they decided to have this family intervention with him. So one day he comes home and he comes in, everybody's sitting there kind of looking at him. They're like, hey, everybody, what's going on? And he says, Jerry, the wife says, Jerry, we're worried about you. You think you're dead, honey. You're not dead. And Jerry says, I told you guys, I'm dead. What don't you get about it? I'm dead. And everybody's like, no, Jerry, would you be willing to see a therapist? And Jerry reluctantly says, all right, I'll see a therapist. So a week goes by, he has his first meeting with his therapist, and he's sitting there with the therapist, and the therapist just asking him questions, getting to know him. He said, Jerry, tell me a little bit more about what's going on with you and your family. He says, well, Doc, my family just can't come to the realization that I'm dead. I'm dead, but they don't know that I'm dead. They think I'm alive. And the therapist said, oh, that's interesting. Comes up with a quick strategy. So he said, here's what we're going to do. Here's for the next couple of months, you're going to see me every 2 weeks, and I'm going to have you go do some exercises, some action items. So he has him go to a morgue and study the bodies there. He has him study some particular type of biology to learn more about the blood. He also has him go observe those autopsies, right? And after 2 months, he comes back, he says, Doc, I think I understand why you sent me to all those places and had me do all those things. And he said, what, really? He gets excited, the therapist. He says, really, Jerry? Tell me. He says, well, Doc, I think you want me to see that dead people don't bleed. And the therapist is like, yeah, exactly. So is it okay if we poke your finger and see if we can draw some blood? And Jerry kind of says, yeah, sure, let's do it. So Jerry pulls out his finger, Doc grabs a little needle, and blood starts coming out. Jerry is looking at it, and he looks at the doc, and he looks at it again, and he gets this big smile, and he says, Doc, guess what? Dead people do bleed.